Hey Tony, it's Thursday. And so I actually had a whole nother plan of what I was going to talk about today. It was going to be about Bethesda, BioWare, and Obsidian, my inability to make good decisions in video games. But something different happened today. Today I actually, if you can tell by me being in my fancy schmancy outfit, I was in court today. As you know, as I'm sure I've mentioned before, Tony, is I'm in the legal services clinic at the school, and I was particularly working with housing court. And today was the kind of I went to housing court again today. Now over summer, I did a lot of that. I worked at housing court almost about every other week over summer, and really enjoyed it. And it kind of it had been I hadn't done it in 8 months, and going back and doing it today remind me how much I really enjoy doing work with housing. Now, with the work I do with CLA and housing court is basically we work for the tenants. If the tenants can't afford legal counsel and are getting evicted due to non-payment of rent or other issues like that, they come to us and we basically try and get their cases in order to make it so we can help them out. And I have to say it's one of the most fulfilling, rewarding jobs I've ever done before. Because what you're doing there, it's up to you to keep these people in their homes. If you're not there to help them, they'll get evicted, they'll be homeless, and a lot of times they have small children, which can really cause a lot of issues. And so it's a really fulfilling job, and it's something that I've been doing a lot of thinking since I only have another year left of school. As Taylor's in the background, I only have another year left of school, and with that, I know for a fact that I need to decide what I want to do with my life soon. And the issue is like for the longest time, I wasn't sure what I really wanted to do. Like as much as I enjoyed criminal law back in undergrad in Toledo, I wasn't sure if that's exactly what I wanted to do. And like I didn't really care. I didn't care for discrimination law all that much. It was interesting. It was okay, but I thought it was too slow, and I didn't like it that much. I work personal injury right now with the firm I'm at, and I enjoy it. It's not bad, but again, it's kind of that whole I don't know if it's what I want to do. And I'm really starting to think that with housing court and like other public interest law, I think that's where my heart is, which is kind of cool. At the same point, they're not easy jobs to get because, well, for one, they don't pay too well, and for two, a lot of it depends on federal funding, and with certain ideas from President Trump's current tax plan, they're going to try and cut a lot of aid to funding legal services, and that's not okay. Like, a lot of times, like we deal with the poorest of people, the people who can't even afford their basic needs of shelter. And if the federal government decides to take away the federal funding to companies like Community Legal Aid, which is who I work with, then they're not going to be able to go very far. They're going to deal with a lot more people. They're going to have a lot less staff. And all in all, it's going to be really, really bad for those in the most vulnerable spots of all. Like today in particular, there was one case that was really kind of challenging for this woman. She was on SSI, which is Social Security. Like she was physically disabled, and so she was not able to work because of her disabilities, and so she's on SSI. And what ended up happening is she had been working on she was trying to work on her home. Like she was worried about losing it. Her landlord wasn't really doing his job. Like her landlord was required to do like the driveway and stuff when it snows. And what she was telling us is that he would sit in his truck and watch her work. Now this is a disabled woman who can't really work for very long, as her landlord, who is required to do this by nature of her lease. I'm sorry, by nature of their lease, just sits in his truck and watches her. And that was one case in particular. Like make matters even worse, a lot of the communities that we deal with, a lot of the homes we deal with, are in very, very, very poor condition. Like one of the cases today, they ended up they didn't have any light fixtures. They ended up like their light switches weren't working. Their toilet wasn't secured. They had a small child, like who was legitimately like only a year old, and they had nails sticking up out of the ground. They showed us these pictures. Now, luckily, that story was good, in which they were moving out in the next couple of days. They already had something set up. They were just unable to, they were being put in there for a non-payment of rent. But to be able to sit there and help out these people is something that's so rewarding, because you feel like you're making a difference. These people have literally nothing. And what you can do is you can help them keep the one thing that they need to have in order to raise their families. And that's their home. And so I'm doing a lot of thinking lately on what my career path what I want to do with my career path. And in no small part, it keeps coming back to housing court, because I feel like I make a difference. It's one of the most fulfilling jobs I've ever worked. I go there, I go home, and I feel good about myself, because I know that I did something good for somebody who otherwise would have had nothing. And so it's kind of neat to get all that together, and I'm really thankful for the school to require these pro bono hours, because I would have never gotten in touch with housing court if not for our pro bono requirement. Because I was told, I got an email just before summer started, from basically our career services head, who was saying, hey, this is a really cool way to get pro bono hours. You get to work housing court. I was like, okay, it'll be interesting. I'll get my pro bono hours, I'll work enough. And I went there, not really thinking I'd really want to do too much with it, but I got there and I loved it. I love doing the work. I love the people I work with. I think Attorney Gordon Shaw, who is my direct supervising attorney, has really been kind of a mentor to me up here, which is really cool. And he was kind of the one who strong-armed me, I always say, into doing the legal services clinic, because he needed one more person. And he knew that I enjoyed housing, so he said, hey Josh, you should join my legal services clinic. And since the school requires these experiential credits anyway, a clinic is a really good way to do that. And so I ended up getting signed up for this clinic, and I've learned a lot of cool skills, a lot of great skills from it as well. I had to write a memo this past week on a housing matter. It was basically a hypothetical matter, but it was actually a case that Gordon had dealt with earlier in his career. And what we had to do is, for our job, or rather for our assignment, was to write this memo calling for summary judgment, which just basically means my client wins as a matter of law. Meaning there's no question of fact, and therefore it's a question of law, which only a judge can determine. Because, gotta go a bit of an aside here, the way the legal system works, judges are finders of law, juries are finders of fact. If there's no material dispute for facts, you can apply for a summary judgment, and it just goes straight to the judge. Which a lot of cases end up going away with this order for summary judgment. But we wrote a memo for that, and I'm learning a lot of great skills that would really help out in the future if I do intend to do housing court. But so it was a very, 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 it was a really nice day being able to just work at housing court just like I did over summer. And I'm glad that I've actually already set it up. I'm going to be interning with housing court this summer as well, which I don't know if I've told you, which is very exciting. And then after that, we'll see where it goes. Because in the fall, I'm going to be doing housing court as well. So I'm going to do basically a full 6 months of housing, which is going to be really cool. And if I continue to really enjoy it, that's certainly something that's certainly a career path I can see myself taking, working public interest law, particularly in the housing sector. Because, as I mentioned before, these people have nothing, and it's up to you as your attorney, as their zealous advocate, to be able to make it so they can keep their homes. Tony, I'll see you on Tuesday.